Everyone wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die. This statement of a wit brings out the fear that many of us have of death. However, the readings of today, though they speak about death, regard death as something that is not to be feared if one believes in a God who is the giver and sustainer of life. The first reading from the book of Wisdom makes the point emphatically when it states that death cannot be part of God's plan because God does not act only to see God's work end in corruption. The purpose of creation is not death, but life. And the natural orientation of all created things is life. That is true especially of humans who alone are created in the image and likeness of God. Death thus is not natural and comes about when one stifles the life that God has given. That God gives life and sustains it is brought out even more powerfully in the gospel text of today. Mark uses here what is known as the sandwich construction. He introduces the incident about Jairus' daughter being ill and even at the point of death, but interrupts it with the cure of the woman with the flow of blood. The woman with the flow of blood exemplifies what faith means. She has spent all her money on doctors. She has reached the end of her tether. Now, it is not the doctors, but the eternal doctor Jesus who can save her. And she knows this in her heart, and she acts on that knowledge. This is what faith means, to know it in one's heart, to believe it in one's heart, and to act on that knowledge and that belief. She just touches the garment of Jesus and she knows she is healed. The reason why Mark interrupts this incident of the raising of Jairus' daughter with the woman healing who had the flow of blood is because he wants to heighten the suspense. So Mark then continues with the incident of Jairus' daughter, who is now dead, but whom Jesus raises. And the reason for this sandwich construction seems to be to heighten the suspense for us who are readers. Since Jairus' daughter is at the point of death, we as readers feel that Jesus must not tarry, but hurry if she is to be saved. Yet, Jesus tarries because he knows that the basic orientation of the human is not death, but life, and that God's power over death will prevail. Jesus tarries confident in the knowledge that he can and will raise even the dead. Jesus tarries because he knows that he, with the grace of God, is the giver of life. The gift of life is given not only to Jairus' daughter, but also to the woman with the flow of blood, who, though not dead, had reached a stage where she was tempted to give up on life. She had reached the end of her tether, and her last hope was the Lord. She was not disappointed. She received healing. She received life. The psalmist in the psalm of today sings the words that the woman, Jairus, and his daughter would have wanted to sing. They have indeed been rescued by the Lord. He has liberated them from all bondage. He has saved them from death. What is responsible for this turn of events? Is it the power of God alone? Is it God acting on his own accord and solely according to his will? The answer is an emphatic no. It is evident in both the first reading and the gospel that it is faith in God's life-giving and sustaining power, that the action of God that is responsible. That is made even clearer in the gospel when Jesus attributes the healing of the woman to her faith and exhorts Jairus not to fear, but to believe. The force of faith and the power of God become manifest in the life of us who believe, and it is narrated in the second reading of today. Indeed, thanks to the power of faith, we are able to overcome ethnic and cultural barriers and express our fraternal charity to others by the concrete action of reaching out to them in their material needs in imitation of Jesus. It is a faith that is manifested not only in words or verbally, but in action, in deeds. The challenge of the readings of today may be summed up in the words persevering faith. This means that there may be numerous times when we are faced with death-like situations. There are situations when, like the woman in the gospel story of today, we have done all that is required of us, and there seems to be nothing more that we can do. There are situations when, like Jairus, we have nowhere to turn. It is at times like these when we may tend to give up and give in that we are called never to do this to ourselves, because the God we believe in is a God of everything that is positive, a God who never gives up on us, a God of life. Since God is a God of life and who gives life and does not hold anything back, as he showed so powerfully when he sent a part of himself in sending his son, we who are created in God's image and likeness cannot live selfish and self-centered lives. But like Paul invites the Corinthians, we too are invited to live faith-filled lives, faith which is shown in action. And the reason why Jesus was able to tell the mourners that the girl was not dead but only sleeping was not because he knew in advance the girl's state, but because he had faith. Faith in his Abba, who was the giver of life. Will you show such persevering faith today?